Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome to Daily's 2A News. Today we're going to be talking about what might be the worst anti-Second Amendment bill to ever be introduced into Congress. It was just introduced on August 6th of 2021. It is H.R. 4953. Let's talk about it. Now, they haven't entered the text for 4953 yet, but the title is long and pretty much tells us everything that we need to know about this bill. So I'm going to read it to you word from word from Congress. It says, H.R. 4953 to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to subject to the requirements of the National Firearms Act, the NFA, any semi-automatic rifle that has the capacity to accept a detachable magazine. That is the current bill. Now, let me go ahead and try and put this into a little bit of context for you and give you some perspective as to how broad this actually is. So again, what they're trying to do is they're trying to take all semi-automatic rifles that would accept a detachable magazine and make them fall under the NFA and be subject to all of its rules and regulations and procedures. That is a vast majority of what is out there right now. That would include just about everything down to your little Marlin 22 that has a 5-round box that can slide into the bottom. Even those, okay, those little tiny ones that, you teach people how to shoot with, those would fall under the NFA as NFA items, according to the title of this bill, because it doesn't say anything about centerfire. It doesn't say anything about rimfire. No, it just says anything that can accept a detachable magazine that's semi-automatic. That's how broad and overreaching this is. Now, again, it's absolutely absurd for them to say that we're not trying to take these things from you, because that's exactly what this is. What's interesting is there's so many people who've already signed on to this. We have members from New York, from Florida, from Georgia, from Maryland, from Illinois, from California. We have all these different people that have already signed on to this bill. These are the same people who will look you straight in the eye and say that we're not trying to take them from you. It's crazy that you mentioned that. It's not even, it's not even something that we're trying to do whatsoever. We're just trying to make common sense reforms to help keep the public safe. While at the same time, they turn around and they do exactly that. They do this. Now, if they say, well, we're not trying to take them from you, you can always just register them. Let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about what happens if something that you own falls under the NFA. There's usually some options that you have if it does fall under the NFA. One, you could destroy it, which I don't see anybody doing. Two, you can turn it into law enforcement, which I don't see anybody doing. Three, you can register it and you could pay a fee. And even if somebody wanted to do that, there's a lot of people out there that are hurting right now that don't even have money to put food on the table. They don't have money to pay whatever fees you might have per unit that you own. Okay, so that's not even an option for them, and they're not going to do options 1 or 2 either, which means that these lawmakers are going to have to send out their minions to take them. Now, try and keep in mind that even though it sounds ridiculous to us, to people who know better and actually use our brains to think and use logic and reason, it seems ridiculous that this bill would even be introduced. But the fact that it has co-sponsors, that's usually a sign that it might at least move a little bit. I doubt that this would actually make it all the way through, but we can't treat it like that. We can't treat it like, well, it's just too crazy, it'll never actually happen. There's a lot of co-sponsors. We got people, again, from New York, from Georgia, from Illinois, from Tennessee, from California, Maryland. I mean, there's representatives that are signing on to this thing left and right, and the more support, the more growth that it actually gets, the more likelihood that it's actually going to move, and something that we need to stay on top of. So again, you can't look at something and say, well, that's outrageous. That's ridiculous. We don't need to pay attention to it. As a matter of fact, the more co-sponsors it gets, the more attention we need to pay to it, because it goes completely against the Constitution. It goes against the Second Amendment, and it is 100% an infringement. Absolutely. Again, it would wipe out just about everything in the public, because people are not going to go with option 1. They're not going to go with option 2. Some people can't afford to go with option 3. And so you're going to see massive backlash should something like this actually be allowed to pass. And so you got to support those groups that fight back against this, like the Firearms Policy Coalition, the Gun Owners of America, and other foundations that actually go out and put their money to actual Second Amendment things and are in court every single day fighting for our rights. There's always a link in my description box to the FPC. If you're not a member yet, I suggest you do it. It's probably the best membership that you can get, and it's definitely worth your time to be a part of the FPC family. So again, these things need to be stopped before they even get started. I'm just so heated that things like this even get entered that it bothers me to my core. It's just a complete slap in the face to freedom. Anyway, if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. You guys have a great day.